All right. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to Mind, Body, and Soul Singing, where I help singers like you, like Brandon, and me too, obtain physical, emotional, and spiritual freedom in our voices. I welcome to my chronic pain series, where I talk to people who have had muscle tension dysphonia and chronic pain and their journey to recovery. So, these are hope stories. We need to have hope when we are going on our chronic pain journey to the other side. And we need to hear stories of people's successes so we can be inspired to do it ourselves because it's totally possible. So, everybody say hello to Brandon.
Oh,
And me and Brandon he's been watching my videos for a while, and we've been chatting in the DMs. And he just has an incredible recovery story that I really would love to share with everyone. So, Brandon, why don't you start from the beginning and you can just let us know about your journey.
yeah. Um, so it started, I guess it's about a year and 2 or 3 months ago now. Um, how we do our gigs down here in Southwest Florida is everybody wants to do the bands and stuff, but how you make good money is you go out there and you do it by yourself for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, singing and playing and stuff. And I was doing that like 2 to 5 nights a week, and
Mm.
because I really wanted to make a good living, and but I was also I was super unhealthy. I was drinking a lot and eating wrong, and I was actually like 50 pounds heavier than I am right now. But then I started vaping and stuff again too. I was playing in all
Oh,
these
yeah.
smoky bars and I was borrowing people's cigarettes because I used to smoke, and I was like, I need to stop doing this, so I'll just vape instead. I started getting a little bit of a hot spot in my throat, and I did a couple gigs anyway with that there because I thought it was just another thing that I'd gone through. I've had little episodes in the past, but it only got worse until the last gig I did. It was on fire and it was like so swollen. I felt like dizzy in the head and all this
Oh,
stuff.
man.
And I said, I guess I got to take a break. And it's like the last thing I ever wanted to do. And
Hmm.
just waited in a week and then a month and then months, and it just wasn't coming back. It just felt terrible. And then it would get worse to where it felt like I just had a sore throat uh, while I'm asleep, while I'm awake.
So,
Nothing.
it was constant pain, constantly?
I was never out of pain. Um,
Okay.
it swelled up enough to where, well, it felt swollen, and I lost all of my head voice. Um, I just had my chest voice, and I had no uh, good advice or background or anything. Everybody thought, of course, it was nodules or something like that, but it didn't line up with that. The doctor said that I didn't get to see a doctor for like 3 4 months, which was terrifying,
Hmm.
because you have no idea what's going on, and uh, and they just kept treating it like a regular sinus infection, because I did have a sinus infection, and
Hmm.
that was actually a huge part of it, but it just wasn't everything. But uh, I would just talk real quiet and try to not talk, because everything just hurt and talking just made it worse. And it kind of developed into just being scared of talking, period.
Mm.
And so I just didn't. And I was still doing the gigs too. So it's so hard to be on stage and you need to communicate with these people that you barely know. And you're on a loud stage. And I'm just trying to give them hand signals. And I'm just like, I'm not even going to try anymore. I'm just going to just guess what they're doing over there. And
Yeah.
because I play a bunch of other instruments too, so I was able to make it work. Um, and lots of times I would just be like, I'm just gonna talk at these gigs so I can just shout when I'm up there, and it would hurt and it'd feel terrible for days afterwards. But at least I made a living that night, And
Hmm.
but anyways, ended up a few months of the first DNT just doing antibiotics and nothing was changing. And I finally ended up with a sinus surgery that helped a lot. And at first, while it was recovering, um, it was feeling a lot better. It felt like a lot of weight lifted around here and stuff. Um, and I started I think I just got more confident that that had fixed it, and I just started talking loudly again, and going on and rambling like I like to talk, you know me. And uh and then one day I'm talking to somebody, I'm so happy because I'm just out here having a conversation for the first time in like 8 or 9 months or something. And and then all of a sudden I feel it just grab right there real quick, like it's done a million times before. And I was so upset because I just spent like my whole savings like completely on this damn sinus surgery. And and then it just got worse from there, and it never got to where I had been right after the surgery. And so they stuck me in speech therapy, and that must have been 9 or 10 months in. And that's when she told me that she thought I had a muscle tension dysphonia, but she actually wasn't. She taught me a few little things. She made me get rid of my chest breathing, which is a very big thing, of course. And but that was really it. She sent me some YouTube videos and some stretches, and the stretches would just overdo it, or I would overdo it. You know, I
Mhm.
should be trying it all the time. Um, and I just didn't believe that that was what I had. I thought, I don't know, I just thought I'd injured something in there. And
Mhm.
so I got a new ENT, and I actually I watched your video when I was with her, and that just taught me a million things. It just made a lot more sense the way that you put it, because it's a lot more than the way she puts it is just your voice might sound a little raspy or something, and that was just about it. And I was like, I don't sound bad. Um, I always had my voice, so it was super frustrating that everybody would be like, I wouldn't guess that you have anything wrong with you. And I'd be like, other than the fact that I'm not talking ever, you know,
Mhm.
I've never lost my voice. I actually could sing. It would just, if one day, maybe 6, 7 months in, I was feeling pretty good for a couple weeks, and good comparatively to before. And I played a gig, and I just sang some songs in the car on the way there, and it was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna see if maybe this is in my head. And so I sang in a car. I talked loudly to people at the gigs. I had conversations on my breaks and things, which I never did back then. And then I started getting a little bit of a pinch that night, and like the next day was much worse. It was so swollen in there. Um, but anyways, getting all off track. I got a watched your videos. I started doing yoga every day. That's part of probably why I lost all that weight. So I appreciate
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
the yoga is great because it just hits so many things at once, right? The
yeah,
mind,
yeah.
the body, and the soul. Which, what you were saying is like this is kind of like a mystery illness where you can't really see any like injury. And I think a lot of these mystery illnesses are actually mind. They call them mind-body illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
which Western medicine hasn't really integrated, I think, into medicine yet. I think they're just looking for physical things or they're looking for emotional things. So they'll tell you it's in your head or it's acid reflux or it's a sinus infection, and they'll often just treat with antibiotics, which is usually not going to do it. We are overly medicated with antibiotics in Western medicine. Or they'll say it's acid reflux and they'll give you a pill. They won't even suggest diet change. And when I suggested I should change my diet, they said no, 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 which is crazy. And I just want to do one more point and then you can continue. It was good that you had a speech therapist and then you found a new one, right? Because the old one wasn't helping. And I just want to like highlight that because I think when we go to the doctor, we think of them, we put them on a pedestal and that they know all the answers, but they don't. And oftentimes we intuitively maybe will know more than them because it's our body, or maybe we don't, but we just believe them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just invite our audience to keep an open mind and don't believe every doctor you listen to. Keep an open mind. And if they're not helping you, or if they're just throwing antibiotics or saying it's acid reflux, I would fire them and go to a new one because they're working for you. And again, they're not very good at mind body illnesses, making that connection and being able to help in a holistic level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. So I think where you left off, you were moving into a new speech therapist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you were experimenting with not being afraid. of the pain.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that mostly that was just like a little experiment every once in a while. It went terribly a few times
Mhm.
because I hadn't been trained to speak correctly. I'm a mumbler, and I'm way low down here. Even right now, I need to remember them up here, and bright and uh, but anyways, the biggest thing ever, honestly, was your first video. I think your big viral video where you just explained your whole thing that you went through, and it just listed a million different things that I could do. And that first speech therapist, I told her about well, the main things that I took from it is it really helped me understand what I was actually supposed to do with that straw. Um,
Mm.
then I was doing the tennis ball, and I still do that all the time, and the yoga, and the yoga just helps my mind my whole dang life. I work outside during the day as well, and I would always find myself trying to set up everything I could do so I don't have to squat over or ever get on my knees, because I'll be like, man, lifting this body up off the ground is so it beats me up. And now I can do everything, and I just go to work and come back and I feel great, you know.
Mm.
But anyways, it really helped me understand a lot of everything from just watching your videos, and uh, and then of course bombarding you with questions once I had found out
Mm-hmm.
about your Instagram and things. And I joined some support groups, and it was mostly those just scared the heck out of me, because everybody there is just, I've had this for years and it's not
Mm.
getting any better, and they think about suicide, and it's all like very very negative, and it just,
Mm-hmm.
if anything, there was some, you could ask some questions on there and they would have some answers, but mostly it just made you feel like you're never going to recover. And then we
Yeah.
had a good conversation where you said that you're not a special case, and you're fine now, and me and anybody else should be fine as well. And
Yeah. I think part of like healing is believing that you can heal. So if you don't have that belief, it's almost like the placebo effect, which is 50% effective. So when you add in this mindset of I can heal and my body is powerful and it wants to heal, and right now my body's speaking to me, it's telling me something is wrong. So how can I listen and investigate and really go down this beautiful wormhole of really getting to know your deepest self on a your mind, your body, and your soul. Yeah.
yeah, and that was definitely my biggest thing, is when you taught me about that. That was right after I found that new speech therapist, and I basically, at that point, I had learned, like you said, with doctors and therapists, it's not like go there and get some answers and then go take what they taught me or something, but I would just research and find what worked for me, and uh, and then bring it up to them when I was there, because otherwise they would give me maybe an exercise or two and send me on my way and see you next week.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point to bring up because I'm a vocal coach and I've noticed it takes two to tango, so I can be a great coach. But if the student is not doesn't have an open, curious mind that is committed to healing and carving out that time, and I've noticed people that heal are like warriors and they're just going for it like every day. I think we have to be careful that we don't overdo it, which you mentioned, because I think this kind of personality, we can like do all of the things all day. So it's just a balance. But I think what it takes to heal is that the student is taking a really active role and empowering themselves and like realizing that they are not helpless and they can figure this out. And you just have to keep asking questions, like keep reaching out for help. And
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the biggest thing, you know. You taught me about the mind-body connection, that I think his name is Ilan Ziv.
Mm.
The Tell Me About Your Pain podcast, and then I read his book. I'm actually like my fourth time through it now.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I just wake up and I'm in a little bit of pain or discomfort, or I'm just worried about it, I know it's gonna come, and I put the book on. I have audiobooks. I just listen to them all the time, and honestly, just hearing him talk about it just calms me down. And I'm not, even if I'm not doing what he's telling me to do, it just calms me back down. I know everything's okay, and everybody starts feeling this way again and again. Even this
Yeah.
morning, before I talk to you, I wake up like 2 or 3 hours early now. I was always the type that would wake up and take a shower and eat and you leave, And now I wake up crazy early to do all these exercises and the yoga and just to calm down and have some quiet time and things, And by the time I get out there, I'm centered and I'm late to work
Mm.
and but I feel great and it works for
Yeah.
me really well.
It sets you up for success. I just want to say quickly, Tell Me About Your Pain is by Alan Gordon, and I'll put that in the description. And this is just one piece of healing of the delicious pie of healing a mind, body, and soul illness. So this is one element. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and you taught me about that when I was uh, right in between these two therapists. That was probably about 9 or 10 months in, about a month or two after my surgery. Um, the it was actually a funny thing. My first therapist, she just was just kind of clueless, and I had been with her for a month and a half or 2 months at that point, probably 6 or 7 sessions before she realized that I was saying that I hadn't been singing at all for a year. She thought I was just saying that I sang, but it hurt. And I
Mm.
was like, no, I'm barely speaking to you right now. How would I be singing?
Yeah.
And but she's like, Brandon, well, you have to try. You have to do something. And she's like, I think your personality is that you're either going to go all for it or you're not. And that was one thing she did do right was like start small with something. Start with a verse of a song, once a day and work your way up from there. And actually did kind of skyrocket from there. I would do
Mm.
probably like I started with a song one day, and then I just started doing like 2 or 3 songs a day up until about a half an hour a day, and
Nice.
I kind of plateaued, and that's when you told me about Alan Gordon's book, and kind of just reaffirmed in my mind that it was a lot of just fear of hurting myself that I wouldn't sing any further because I would get into some pain or just a little bit of a bite back feeling, and it's hard to explain. That's my whole deal. And
Mm-hmm.
recently, like I told you, I think a lot of it was I just didn't realize I had still had like a post nasal drip kind of sinus issue going on, and it was just hitting that, and just it would get uncomfortable, and I would get scared, and I would stop, and that would turn into just skyrocketing pain.
Yeah, I think
And
a lot of people give up because they skip this step. So a lot of people, including me in the past, stop singing, stop talking, and have this expectation, so when we start talking and singing again, the pain should be gone because we rested our voices, but then it's not gone. And then we become very upset. And it's called a chronic pain loop. So we're constantly obsessing and checking for it. Oh, there it is. Whatever wherever we energy is focused, that's where the energy is going to go. So we're like obsessing, ruminating. If we have any pain, the whole day's ruined. We're constantly checking it, and then we don't retrain our voices. That's the one of the huge pieces of this pie, to retrain the voice. But if we're so scared and we feel unsafe and it feels dangerous, we feel like we're injuring ourselves, how can we do that step? It feels counterintuitive. But I would just, yeah, wanted to highlight that actually, yeah, working with Alan Gordon, reading his books. He also has a free pain program. I'll link in the description to help with that. But we have to retrain our voices, and we have to face that fear. And how do we like nurture ourselves and make ourselves feel safe so that we can do the work? And then if the pain comes in, maybe it's okay. We can still do the work. We're not injuring ourselves. And this kind of work is the Alan Gordon work that we're talking about
yes,
with retraining your voice. You have to retrain the voice. Yeah.
yes, and I speak completely differently than I did before. People always, what I say, they still say I sound funny, but I always had a kind of a funny accent because I was just they put me in a speech therapy when I was a little kid because I mumble and I say things funny. I would talk too fast, I think, and that was my biggest thing. But like like I say, I do the straw thing all the time. I keep my voice bright, and everything that comes with speech therapy, it's just all completely different. I don't even remember how I was doing it before. It's just all ingrained into me now, and I practice it every morning, and then I go out and I just live my day like that. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, once you told me about Alan Gordon's book, and he just kind of gave me a really good pep talk one day, and I was so excited, and you were just it was basically kind of a not to push it on anybody, but like I was feeling pain, and like I said, I do the chronic pain cycle, and once I was just assured that that's part of it is probably in my head, and to see if it's actually physically stopping me from doing it. Um, I had a bit of pain, and I've been doing all these gigs with my wife. She's a singer as well, so she's just helping me do all my shows, and she was always there, and I'm super lucky for that. But I would be like, okay, let me you could take a break. I'm gonna try a few songs, and right after I spoke with you that first time, I went from singing maybe 15, 20 minutes at a gig and staggering the songs, because I was worried about it. I did like an hour straight by myself, and
Wow.
then later that week, actually maybe a week after that, I did a my first 3 hour gig in a year, and I was super worried about it the whole time, and I did kind of take a break, and I was worried about it, and I just caught a breath, and did the grabbing my chest, and just trying to resettle myself, and it went great, and it's only gotten further and further from then. I
Yeah.
Once I had kind of hit that milestone, I was like, I think I'm just healed now, and I was singing every day until I think it finally caught up with me about 3 4 weeks in. I would still have some pain, but it would come and go, and then one day I got a a series of really bad phone calls. I was about to leave town, and then the person I was going to see out of town said they were sick, but to come over anyway. And I was like, well, what the heck, man? I'm not gonna. I can't go hang out with sick people. I gotta make a living and things. And
Mhm.
so I was stressed about that. I was stressed about a bunch of work stuff, and I just went into like the worst pain I'd had since before my surgery, and it stuck around for like a week. And honestly, ever since then, I've been I take every week at a time. I've usually got 2 to 4 gigs lined up at least. This week is 5, um, and I've always got my wife to help me if I need it. And so I set up each week, and I say I'm going to do this one by myself, this one with her, and we'll kind of take turns. This one will be all her because I'll have pushed myself too far by then. Um, Kind of still before every gig, including today. Honestly, if I didn't have a gig later today, I'll be like, man, my voice feels excellent. I don't think I feel anything. But since I'm worried about that, I'm like, oh no,
Mhm.
I've got too much mucus or something like that, and I just start worrying and worrying about it until it starts kind of burning. And
Yeah.
but sure enough, almost every one of these whole 3 4 hour gigs, and of course I take my breaks during. It's not straight through 3 or 4 hours or anything.
Good. Yeah.
Every one of them, but I worry about it for the first hour or so, and then after that, I've completely forgot about that because your head is in the music and you're not thinking about all this anymore. And I'm like, look at me, I'm just completely free and healed and just fine.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
but just like Alan Gordon says, it's going to come back and it's going to keep coming back, and you got to keep practicing that and kind of structure my life for wear and tear on my voice. I know now, especially if I'm doing a solo gig, I'm not going to sing at all the next day. I'm going to do my warm ups all day,
Mm.
but I'm going to take it easy, even if my voice feels great, because
Yeah.
I know I'm not as healthy in the voice as everybody else is, or maybe I am, but I'm just a
Maybe you
lot more
are.
sensitive to it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to like interrupt for a minute. What I'm hearing is that you have really added self care into your lifestyle, a lot of self care, and also reaching out for help and support. And I think
Yes.
those are big healers. And so that's self-care, doing the morning routine, taking days off, adding yoga in. You said you lost 50 pounds because our voices are part of our bodies and our mind is part of that too, which could be a blessing and a curse, but I think it's a great blessing. And I would also encourage you to start thinking that um, maybe you aren't a special case and your voice is like other people's voices. Like, just why not think that thought?
Yeah.
Because thoughts are beliefs that are just repeated over and over, like in our mind. And also, yeah, and I would even say, like for me, on my journey, I'm a vocal coach, so I am working out my voice a bit. Um, but I don't even uh, work out my voice every day anymore. I don't wake up in the morning and do all the exercises to get myself into the zone. So I would even like suggest playing with that. Like, well, you gig a ton, so you are an athlete, like an Olympian athlete, because you are
Yeah.
using your voice 4 to 5 days a week. So actually, I will leave that to you to decide if intuitively you're feeling like I should be working these exercises every morning, I should take a day off, so etc. Then stick with that. Like for me, I actually don't gig a ton because I just don't want to. And I'm a teacher, so that for me is what is working for me. And I will teach about 5 hours a day, 4 times a week. And most of the time, I won't have any pain. I'll forget, like you said, like I'm healed, so I have no pain. Sometimes it'll come in, and I even have the mindset where I just don't give it attention anymore.
Mhm.
Sometimes I do get afraid still, of course. And I think you and I, with people with muscle tension dysphonia, are just very sensitive beings. And we think a lot and we feel a lot. And we're also people that are fixing and healing ourselves. So I think sometimes we can overanalyze that too.
Mhm.
And so pain is not bad or wrong. It's just the body speaking to us. And maybe this is a superpower. And the last thing I'll say, and you can continue, is on my journey of healing that never ends, is I'm just exploring nervous system health and kind of applying that language to what's happening to me. So oftentimes, you mentioned it too, when we're super stressed. For me, the language is I am in fight or flight right now. My nervous system is ready to fight or flee. I can feel a tension in my neck. It's clicking when I'm swallowing. Maybe there's a bear that's about to eat me, is how it feels. But in modern culture, reading emails, talking to your friend who's sick on the phone because of COVID and all this stuff, that feels like the bear is going to eat you. So your body is actually trying to protect you and keep you safe. So it's putting you into fight or flight so you can outrun that bear or fight that bear and survive. So our bodies are beautiful and they're really just trying to help us when we have these pain signals and tension and tightness. And for me, I've started the muscle music program. I'll link that below. It's so we can identify our nervous system state, and then we can have community with muscle music, and we can also have education and knowledge, and we can know that we can actually move our nervous system into rest and restore and play mode, which is what you feel when you're on stage and you've forgotten about your pain and you're healed. I bet your nervous system is in a playful, restful, open-hearted mode where
Yeah.
you just feel good and you want to communicate and you feel open and you feel pain free.
Yeah.
And that's just my latest language to what's going on with me that always changes as I'm like just so hungry to know myself deeper and deeper and deeper as I go through my life. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm questioning, can I heal more? Yes. And like, is I have MTD now, and but it's not chronic anymore. But now I'm curious if I've been stuck in a chronic state of fight or flight, which is true for me. And can I get out of that chronic state and can I strengthen that muscle so I'm in rest and restore more than the fight or flight? But I'll just say one more thing as human beings, that's our biology. So we will go into fight or flight. We will go into shutdown and freeze. And that's not bad. It doesn't mean we haven't healed. That's just our biology. So nothing wrong with that. But we just contend to it like you do with all the self care and the exercises and the support. And that's how we move into rest and restore. And I think having that expectation, not the expectation that we will never feel pain again or never feel stressed or never feel tightness or tension, but instead know that there's nothing wrong with us and that's not bad at all. But we have tools to help ourselves to get back into a more restful state.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's basically all it is for me anymore. It's just I just take it a week at a time, and I plan the week how I'm gonna do it, and I kind of strategize, but then I try to not just focus on all that. I try not to think if I do this, this is how I'm going to feel once it happens. I experiment with things. Some days I take it easy. Mostly I never do because I'm crazy and I just wake up and I'm ready to do things. I've been up for like 4 hours at this point, and I had you push it back yesterday because I was like, I'm probably gonna be, nervous, and I should just give myself some extra time just to calm down. And
Same. That's how I woke up too. I was like, I need to be restful. And
and
so I
I was
gave
even like
myself
I
a
was
few
worried
hours.
first thing, so I sent you a message on like this is my phone number in case we drop the call and things like that, because I'm like
Yeah.
just whatever. I'm always worried about something, and I need to just calm
Me
down
too.
and do the dang thing.
Yeah, my mind is just like thinking up every single thing, and then I have to tackle it all. And
Mm,
I think it's like a type A personality. We're often all or nothing personalities, and we're often worried a lot. And our mind, because it's trying to protect us, will worry and try to predict everything that's going to happen. And because of our past experiences, it has these predictions from the past that's going to keep saying, well, this happened last time, so it's going to happen this time. And
yeah,
so it's always looking for the bad stuff because it wants to keep us safe. But we can do the work to instead, like Alan Gordon's work, this is what it is like, to seek
exactly.
out the good stuff, to keep an open mind, a mind of curiosity and wonder instead of control and like knowing the answers, which is actually very black and white. If we know the answer, then we can control the situation. But in reality, we don't have a lot of control. So to have a curious, open mind that is always looking curiously like what if it's amazing, what if this is beautiful, this sensation feels good in my body, so looking for like a detective all the beautiful things instead of the mind looking for all the bad things, which I think that's just normal biology, but this is the work that we do in our minds.
Hmm.
And I think this is soul work too. um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Honestly, even though I'm I still feel completely afflicted by this, and that's what everybody is surprised when they speak to me because they hear me out there singing, and I sound better than I ever did because I'm well trained now. I've got I feel better now uh, than I ever have in my entire life. I think I've got everything on lock. I go to therapy now. I love my
Me too.
therapist.
Yeah.
She's a little crazy, but so am I. So
Yeah, so am I.
um, yeah, I'll just start. I'll get down on myself and I'll hit her up and be like, "Can we talk? Tomorrow?" And she'll just set me straight, and that'll get me just a little less stressed out and less of that negative thinking spiral. And that's all tied
Yeah.
in with the pain and everything as well.
Yeah, that's community reaching out to, and it's also co-regulation of your nervous system. So co-regulating with other people to help you feel safe and good and happy. So I think that's what therapy is.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that pretty much that sums it up. I'll keep on talking forever, I swear.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm practicing every day. I'm practicing my mindfulness, and once I have that down, I can start practicing singing again, which is
Hmm.
it's just such a blessing even to just have sat here and spoke with you for an hour is such a it's a miracle compared to where I was, and I really thank
Yeah.
you so much for it more than anybody. You helped me through like the worst of it, and you helped me make my biggest breakthrough ever, which was like I felt afflicted at one point, and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to do my show how I always did it, how I love doing it, and now I'm not only doing that, but I'm starting a whole bunch of bands, and I'm working with all these different groups that I never would have before, and I'm pacing myself right, and honestly, I'm probably I'm out working a lot more than I was before this ever happened to me. So
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like, yeah, I think to recover from this muscle tension dysphonia, yeah, we can't just think it's one thing. It's not just a physical thing. So I think, just, I don't know if I'm going to forget something, but I'll try to think of everything. So it's the physical component. We have to retrain our voices. We have to speak and sing well. And if one speech therapist isn't doing it, find another. If they're not doing it, find another. Look online. We're becoming we're educating our voices. I mean, sorry, we're educating ourselves on all things vocal technique. So to like discover people like me on YouTube, people like Katarina H on YouTube, Healthy Voice Tips, um, seeking out speech therapists that are willing to help you online. I've done that, who are not, they kind of, they don't say it's speech therapy. They use a different word and then they can help you online. So just, yeah, really seeking out that education to become a master over the physical side of our voices. And anybody can do it. Nobody's broken, especially if you have MTD, you can do this. And then there's also lifestyle change. So taking care of ourselves and whatever that looks like yoga, meditation, carving out extra time for ourselves, breathing, nature walks, therapy. Uh, we need community. We need to talk about it. We need to let other people know. That's therapy too. That's your wife. That's my band, my vocal coach. Uh, and yeah, taking care of our bodies, eating right, sleeping, drinking a lot of water, because this is where our instrument is. It's in our body. And um, is there anything else you want to add to that? I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but there's also
Um,
many fun things. Oh, sorry, taking the fear off. So working with Alan
so
Gordon and working on the mind, so we're not in a chronic state we're not in fear all the time, and we're not obsessing, and we're not focusing and having these expectations on our pain. So I think it's like chronic pain education and like how to work the mind. So I think some people are like, it's not in my mind. I hate when people say that, but actually it's just neurological pathways, and what we like think is what we believe, and it's how we see the world. And that may seem woo woo to some people, but I think we are clear evidence of that being a crucial component to healing is how we see the world. Um, yeah.
the
Did
thing
I
I gotta
forget
keep
anything?
reminding myself is that, there is, I mean, everybody has real pain and everything, but certain behaviors and just ways we are, if you focus on that pain and everything, it becomes much worse than it actually is. Like I have pain right now, and I've been thinking about it this whole dang time. And when I get off of here, I'm probably gonna put that audiobook back on and just give myself a little calm down, do my exercises and things. And once I get tuned in on something else, it's gonna be completely gone. And
Mm-hmm.
I think every one of us, when develop this thing, everybody wants to think that we can just take a pill and be done with it and go back to our regular lives. But
Yeah, that's how we've been
it,
conditioned in this society too. Or we want to be the way we were before.
mhm. And it's like we all want to deny that we have to do all these big things to change it. And now with everything, anytime I call my doctor about anything, and I call her all the time because honestly, I've never had a doctor. I'm like 33. I got my first doctor when I was 32, and
Mm.
but now I'm like, hey, my toe aches today or something. I'll send her a message and they'll give me an annoyed call back and things. But I'll always say I just have this and I think about it all the time, and I'm just wondering if there's a lifestyle change that I can do first. And honestly, she always sends me some prescription, and I try it for a couple days, and usually I stop. She sent me muscle relaxers and all this different stuff, and I don't take any of it except for my allergy stuff because I'm still just all loaded up down here.
Yeah.
Florida is basically made out of pollen, so
Yeah.
you got
Yeah. I also
pollen
suggest
allergy.
allergy meds sometimes. Yeah, I would say like the Western doctor, it's not that they're a bad doctor, it's that the whole system and the way that they're trained and taught, it doesn't work. I recommend the book, darn it, I can't remember it. I'll send you a DM. Oh, Brave. I think it's called Brave Medicine. And this is really helpful, I think, for people in chronic pain medicine. Oh, because it's about a doctor. Okay, it's called Brave New Medicine by Cynthia Lee.
Hmm.
And I highly recommend this book. It's amazing because it's about a doctor who gets a mind and body illness. And she's a Western doctor. So for years she's trying, there's nothing that a Western doctor can do for this, in my opinion. They only have antibiotics, and it's not their fault. It's just the whole system. Like it's just treating symptoms and looking at one thing, but the body is all working together, so they're not looking at it that way. And this book is amazing. She gets so sick, and then it takes her years to undo this belief about Western medicine, and she becomes a holistic doctor, and she does so much of what you've done to like change her lifestyle, and she healed herself, and she is moved over. And I see a doctor who used to be an ER doctor, but now he's a holistic doctor and treats with food and lifestyle. And I'm just saying that oftentimes the Western doctor is just going to give you pills, and doesn't mean they're a bad person or a bad doctor. It's just that's Western medicine, and we live in a sick care system that
Yeah.
we're not a preventative care system. We live in a sick care system, so they people are sick. A lot of people are sick in America. 1 out of 2 get cancer in this country, and it's all just I could go, I'm going off on a tangent now, but so I would say what I'm trying to say is our body is powerful and capable of healing. And usually, a lot of times, medication isn't going to do the trick. And we really need holistic healing. I would even encourage you, yeah, to work on not calling your doctor for all these different pain
You're
stuff.
right.
I'm the same way. Like I worry a lot, but over the last few years, like reading Brave New Medicine and learning about Western medicine, I I don't see my Western doctor anymore because they just can't help. Like I see a holistic doctor when I need him, so I highly recommend looking for that because they will be able to help you more. Um, but I get that's just my 2 cents on Western medicine. It's not all bad. I know mood disorders like bipolar schizophrenia, medication is a miracle. It's a blessing. We need surgeries for in car accidents. It can be great. So it's not black and white either. But I'm just saying that's like my honest thought on Western medicine and how it's really let me down so much. And with my speech therapist, I had to go to Mass General Hospital in Boston because they looked at multiple things and treated me like a human with a name, and like I felt loved and cared for, and so it's just a more holistic approach where you feel like if you're a Western doctor, if I would say the most one of the important things is that you just feel like they care about you and they want to help you and stuff like that too. So I'm just blabbing, but
It's good though. It's all good.
yeah. So, this was an amazing conversation, and what a beautiful, hopeful story to hear about muscle tension dysphonia and how there is another side, and you don't have to be in chronic pain for 10, 20 years. And if you are, like, you can still recover, and we're not broken, we're not injured, we don't have some sort of injury. It's really just doing this work, and it might seem like a lot. So, just doing one thing at a time, like, how about just focusing on retraining my voice? And then when I'm ready, let's look into this pain program. Let's do therapy. It's just a slow build. And it seems like a lot of work, but maybe you agree, like living a lifestyle like this is what living really is to me. Like I feel so happy, so whole, so connected to my mind, body, and spirit. Like I can't imagine not going back in time and not having any of the self-care, any of the training. Like I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was depressed, I was anxious, I was in so much pain, I was angry, and now I still feel those things as a human being, but I've expanded way beyond that. And I just love this beautiful holistic lifestyle where I can take care of myself and love myself and nurture myself and soothe myself and also do that in community with everybody else because we're all one, nobody's alone in their pain. We all have pain. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So great to talk to you, Brandon.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I bet your show will be amazing tonight.
Yes,
And
yes. It's only
yeah,
3 hours this time. I'm looking forward to it.
nice. Yeah, I'm sure Alan Gordon will help when you listen to that. I even recommend like it's hot in Florida actually, so I don't know, like getting into nature. And
You get used to it.
yeah, so I bet
The
you'll have a
sun will be
great
shining.
show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love Florida. Not in the summer, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
a nice spot. But
Yes, yes.
thank you so much. I'm sure you're going to help so many people, and you've helped me today. Just listening to your story, I can understand even in a deeper way than before. And yeah.
Good girl.
All right.
Well, it's
Well,
great talking to you.
yeah, you too. And I'll see you on Instagram.
Yes, ma'am.
All
All right.
right.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
See you soon.